written book of glitter kind sits on my Kindle behind all the other things that I should be reading instead. But here we are, so let's all critique this text in this react. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to another spooky episode of An Anthropologist Reads Anna O'Brien's book, A Life Full of Glitter, Chapter 12. We are done. Yay! We've made it to the end. Hooray! Alright, so this is Chapter 12. I'm sorry you can't be perfect. Unless you're me. She starts off with, if I waited for perfection, I would never write a word. Quote from Margaret Atwood. Very, very cerebral. Cerebral. Doesn't really come off as quippy when I can't pronounce the word correctly, does it? Anyway, I was going to say anybody who writes any kind of anything, like even just a college paper, you understand the whole concept of done is better than perfect. It's just kind of that idea that just get it done and turn it in, right? Just write the damn book and edit it, right? Anyway, she starts off with, when I was a teenager. And I wrote, she has no life experience beyond high school and early college. And she doesn't. None of the stories in this book have been past the age of like mid-20. Like 25, 26, because we're either hearing about when she was a teenager, we get a few stories here and there about college. We actually haven't gotten a ton of stories about her college years. We know more about her high school years than we do her college years. And we know more about high school than we know about her first jobs after she got out of college. She's 33, 34 when she's writing this book, by the way. So she's really young, but I feel by like your 30s, especially 33, it's kind of like the enlightenment time in your life, if you will, because that's the age the Buddha achieved enlightenment. So, therefore, the lack of adult life experiences that she shares with us is very telling. Anna's very stuck in her, especially her teenage years, but she's still very stuck in her young life. Even today, she recently posted and today being the 23rd of October, she recently posted on Threads something that says, don't mind me, I'm just going to, I don't know, turn on this, play the song I'm Not That Girl from Wicked, and cry in the corner about how I had a rough time or how I was a chubby girl in high school. She's 40. Why are you still crying about high school, Anna? I had a rough time in high school too, but I don't sit in bed at night and listen to songs just to feel miserable about my time in high school. That was like 20 some odd years ago now. I've done so much with my life since high school. And so has Anna, really. I mean, honestly, we sit here and we scrutinize Anna's life because she's decided to make it so public. Anna's really done a lot. Let's not diminish that, right? So why aren't you worried about that stuff? Why aren't you thinking about, like, hell, even the last job you had? Like, I can see reflecting back on the last job you had and being like, oh God, I could have done so much better. Like, I can get that. Or being like, oh my God, they just didn't accept me at my last job. I understand that because she like quit her last job sometime around her late 30s. No, yeah, early 30s actually. It's like 2015, so around 2016, 2017, I think, is when she went full time with the glitter and lasers thing, as opposed to having a job. So it's just like, you have so much more to talk about, and yet you focus almost exclusively on high school. It's weird. It's just weird. Anyway, back to this story. When I was a teenager, after a long, hard day, I would rush up the stairs to my room. I'd close my blinds and turn my stereo up. Okay. We just got done talking about a post she made like a week ago with these exact words. I lay in bed as a familiar song began to play. 'Cause we lost it all, nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. The song echoed in my body as I struggled in a world where I was trying to chase a type of perfection I would never have. Welcome to being a teenager. How are you unique? I would never have the perfect body. I would never be perfect at interacting with others. I would never be perfect at school. I felt I was constantly apologizing for all the ways I was imperfect. Okay. You're not telling me how this is unique, how this is a unique experience. Anyway, the band, in case you were wondering, was Simple Plan. A fairly popular band at the time. This is important to keep in mind. And I suppose I am starting off this chapter in the most appropriate way, admitting my deeply imperfect love of terrible 2000s emo rock. A Simple Plan was one of the more popular bands. So, I don't know what you're trying to do here, but you're not weird or unique or in any way avant-garde because you listened to a Simple Plan in 2000, or that you were listening to emo rock in the 2000s. What oh my god, Anna, I can't believe you were so avant-garde that you were listening to emo rock in the 2000s. Wow. However, I can't help but think of this song as I pen type this final chapter. Why did that song even exist? I could go into it, but it's a very drawn out process where one person writes words, another person writes music. Sometimes it's the same person, but there's usually a collab somewhere in there. And once the song is written and composed, then they go and perform it, tweak it in the performance studio, and then eventually it makes it onto an album that then gets published so the rest of us can listen to it. Who was perpetuating the idea that anyone could or should be perfect? Why did we need a deeply apologetic song about normal human error? All right, look, if you were listening to emo rock in the 2000s and you're picking this one fucking song from Simple Plan, which you didn't name the title of the song, by the way. The name of the song is Perfect, by the way, in case you were wondering, because Anna sure as hell didn't tell us. So, you're a big enough fan of Simple Plan to be able to name the band from the 2000s, but you wouldn't tell us the name of the song? I just feel like this goes back to her, like, citing her sources thing. If you can tell me the name of the band, you should at least be able to tell me the name of the song. Like, or were you just trying to flex? Like, oh my god, I listened to emo rock in the 2000s. Like, did you though? Anyway, in writing this book, one thing I learned stood out more than anything else. I am not perfect. Okay. In this chapter, we'll talk about how we feel so pushed to be perfect, how it's affecting our lives, and how unrealistic expectations of others affect them. Anna is going to make an argument in this book, in this chapter, that she is a perfectionist. And her entire life is basically an example of how she's not. Anna also likes to tell us throughout this book, and still to this day, that she's a type A. Again, not a compliment, not something to be like striving to achieve in life. Being a type A personality is not, it's not like, oh my god, you're such a type A personality. It's not like that. It's like, chill the F out. Okay? You're going to have a heart attack. But anyway, here we go. The curse of perfectionism. Perfectionism is the need to be perfect, or at least appear to be perfect to others. I'm pretty sure that's not the actual definition of perfectionism, but here we are. That last part is important because many perfectionists feel their life is just an emotionally and physically exhausting facade, and behind the curtain they feel like imposters. you may feel that way. But unless you're going to cite this, which you don't, by the way, who are you talking about? Okay. Right. And then she goes on to cite, well, she doesn't cite anything. She talks about a series of interviews that were done in 2007. And these were the friends and families of people who had, I guess, self-deleted is what we're going with these days. More than half of the interviews describe the deceased individual as a perfectionist. Since you are talking about such an incredibly heavy topic as, you know, forcible removal of the self from the living plane, you might actually really want to, I don't know, put the name of the people who were doing the research here. This is really important to cite a source for, because otherwise this really just sounds like a just so story to help you push the point of perfectionism. Which, by the way, a freaking perfectionist would have cited their sources. I'm over it. I also don't like the use of self-deletion as some kind of like push to back up a point. You could have made an argument for perfectionism or against perfectionism without bringing this up. But, you know, even more interesting is the surprising fact, which requires a citation, by the way, that the most successful people in business and life are those who are less likely to be perfectionists. Because they chill the F out. Also, cite your sources, Anna. If it's a fact, you should be able to tell me where it comes from. And then I just highlighted this because it's just quintessential Anna. Remember what we've been talking about up to this point, perfectionism, and how Anna realizes she is not perfect. No ego on this woman. In the technology world, where I worked for some 10 years before accidentally becoming quasi-internet famous. Can I get your autograph? Anyway. Also, as a self-identified type A personality, perfectionism stresses me out. Okay, well, at least you're self-identifying, and now we know that you're not actually a type A or a perfectionist. So, I should just take the word perfectionist out of these and just put I in front of it, I being Anna, and just be like, I see the world for all the ways it isn't ideal. Yes, that's true. Versus all the potential my life and the world around me have. This can make me very hard to be around, because I am always complaining. Nothing is ever good enough. I see fault in everything. That's just me taking the word perfectionist out and changing all of the they and thems into I or me. And I mean, where's the lie? Every time we see Anna make a video, she's complaining about something. Either the clothes don't fit, or the toilet doesn't fit, or she's lost a piece of equipment that she needs and then later tries to say it was stolen, even though she originally said she misplaced it. You know, she's constantly concerned about the people around her saying or doing something negative to her. She trashes retail stores that she goes into because they're not living up to her expectations. I mean, yeah, you know, she snaps her fingers at people. Give me that. Literally, you know, it's just she gets cranky that people give her compliments because it's not the right kind of compliment. I mean, I don't think that's the definition of perfectionism. I'm not a perfectionist. I've never been called that before in my life. So maybe I'm completely off base, but I have known some people who would definitely be perfectionists, and this is just not it. But anyway, there's probably some of this in there, like, do perfectionists really project on the world, or do perfectionists internalize things? And that's the problem. Like, because the perfectionists I've been around, they all internalize. Like, nothing they do is perfect. Everything they produce or participate in or, you know, work on has to be perfect. And it's a form of procrastination in the most part. It's a form of fear, and it's a form of self-sabotage. But again, all of those things are internal, not external. They're not worried about McDonald's not giving them the perfect hamburger. Perfectionists often tend to get exploited in professional and academic settings because by nature they will step in and take control of a project and ensure that it's delivered immaculately. Let me rephrase that one again. I often tend to get exploited in professional and academic settings because by nature I will step in and take control of a project and ensure that it is delivered immaculately. And now let's take that all the way back to the story Anna was telling us about the PowerPoint. This is one of the few stories we get of Anna being in college where she was apparently part of a group project and she had told the other members of her group that the only thing they had to do was make a PowerPoint and she was going to do everything else. And according to Anna's story, she did all of the things. And when she showed up the day of the presentation, like, were you guys not communicating at any point in between the point of the assignment and the day of presentation? Because a group project requires collaboration. You have to have meetings to know where everybody is on the page. Anyway, Anna shows up. Her team hasn't done the PowerPoint. And so she spends the moments before they're supposed to give their presentation madly trying to put a PowerPoint together. And because her team let her down and she had to do everything at the last minute, she wasn't able to present in front of the class well enough to get a grade that she was happy with. So in this group project that Anna was part of, Anna made it so that she was the one responsible for everything except the PowerPoint, including presenting. So the other people in the group, however many others there were, all they had to do was put a PowerPoint together. Where's the group? Where's the group here? This sounds like Anna is a control freak, which is what this sounds more like than a perfectionist. This sounds like a control freak. It sounds like Anna's a control freak, doesn't know how to let other people do things, doesn't trust other people to do things. Still not perfectionism traits as far as I'm aware. Maybe it is, but nah, usually it's a control freak thing. And then gets madly disappointed that things aren't up to her standards because, again, she's already set these people up to fail, and then they fail, and then it's just like, oh, I knew you would fail. But Anna says that's perfectionism. And here we go. Why perfect people fail. Have you ever pulled an all-nighter to fix the alignment of a PowerPoint? No, and I've also not had a mental breakdown in the hallway before class of trying to put one together for a group project that I didn't trust the rest of my group to work on. Anyway. As the official Perfectionist and People Who Worry Too Much Club, you mean Control Freak Club, president, I'm going to walk you through just how perfectionism negatively impacts our ability to succeed in life. Go on. It's a very unsatisfied life that a perfectionist leads. I speak from personal experience. Okay. As a recovering fusspot, control freak, let me tell you that trying to be perfect is the worst. The worst. What did I don't know here? What did I say? I said, this book has proven that you are not. Not a perfectionist. Nothing is ever good enough. Not perfectionism. You never feel satisfied. That might be true. The work you do complete, you can't even celebrate because you're still caught up with the one or two changes you would make, even if they would let you just do it over. Maybe. I lived this life and it was miserable. Anna, you're still a control freak. I don't know what's changed between you publishing this book and the videos that you do today. You're losing your shit on the internet on a regular basis because things aren't perfect in your life. Again, not a perfectionist trait. That's a control freak trait. Perfectionism, as far as I understand, please feel free to correct me, perfectionism is an internal thing, not an external thing. Maybe there is an external form of perfectionism, but I still feel like that's more of a control freak thing. Maybe control freakism, because that's a science word, is a form of perfectionism, but I just still don't feel like it is. But that's me. Also, let me put this forward. Anna is not giving us a professional anything as far as perfectionism is concerned. There's no professional definitions. There's no medical papers. There's no diagnoses. There's nothing even saying that she's officially XYZ. Anna is just speculating and saying that these things that she has done in her life, she perceives as being perfectionism. So me sitting here and saying, I don't think that's what perfectionism is just as valid as Anna's argument in this book. I don't have to cite shit because Anna hasn't cited anything either. We are basically just comparing our opinions of what we think perfectionism is. And I think Anna's wrong. Anyway. This crippling belief that you shouldn't try unless you can win, and you can't win unless it's perfect, doesn't just begin to isolate the perfectionist, it also begins to erode their identities. I do believe that there's a crippling belief that you shouldn't try unless you win, and you can't win unless it's perfect. I think that is a perfectionist trait. But again, perfectionism is really a form of procrastination. So it's a way of saving the self from an unpleasant experience, like, oh my God, what if I fail? Right. So if you never try, you can't fail, right? So if it's not perfect, I'm not going to put it forward, ergo I can't fail, right? It's one of those things. Anyway. Imperfection is what makes each of us unique and connected to each other. I don't get the connected to each other part, but yeah, imperfections do make us unique. That's for damn sure. Perfectionists also tend to see everything as black and white. I don't think so. I think that's an Anna thing. Again, this is more of a control freak thing. It's either my way or the highway, right? That's a black and white statement. It either is or it isn't. So there is no in between. Do or do not. There is no try. For a perfectionist, self-worth is completely conditional. That might be true. As a result, not only does the individual spend most of their life chasing something that doesn't exist, perfectionism, but they also avoid hearing feedback out of fear it might make them seem unworthy, imperfect. Negative feedback is always personal to a perfectionist. I don't think that's true either. Again, my opinion here just as valid as Anna's opinion because we are basically just comparing opinions of what perfectionism is. Neither of us is making a diagnosis of any variety here because neither of us are qualified, and Anna's not citing sources, so I don't have to either. Anyway, I do think self-worth might be conditional for a perfectionist, just going off of the few that I've known. As a result, not only do individuals spend most of their time chasing something that doesn't exist, yeah, I guess, but they also avoid hearing feedback out of fear it might make them seem unworthy. The only person in this book that's had a hard time hearing feedback's been you. Don't get me wrong, I don't think anybody likes negative feedback. I mean, positive feedback's great because it makes you feel good, right? You're like, heck yeah, they liked my thingamajig. But negative feedback is always personal to a perfectionist. Negative feedback's personal to everybody. That's the problem with negative feedback. You take it internally, regardless of if you're a perfectionist or not. So I don't know why she thinks she's so fucking special here. Like, I'm not a perfectionist, and when I get negative feedback, it stings. It hurts everybody's feelings because it's negative, right? It's how you go on after that. Like, do you sit there and stew and dwell and let it eat you from the inside out? That's different than just being like, well, they don't like my thing. I guess it's just not for them. And you move on with life, right? Don't like my book, don't read it. Fair. Putting people on pedestals. Right. In every TV show, movie, and book, there's always one character that everyone else looks up to or fantasizes about being. The cheerleader, the popular girl, the queen of the galaxy. We definitely know Anna does that. This book has been a testament to that. Anna does not like the popular girl. Anna does not like the cheerleader, the queen of the galaxy. Anna does not like women who are more acceptable, desirable, popular, successful than she is. She does not like those people at all. And she seems to directly compare herself to them, whether there's a reason to or not. It's not like they're both beauty queen pageants and the other girl won. It's not that kind of a situation. It's like the cheerleader and Anna plays band. And she's comparing her success in band to this girl's success in cheerleading. These are two completely different spheres. Cheerleader, if all you ever did was cheerleading, you probably wouldn't do too great in band. And like, if all you ever did was band, you're probably not going to do too great in cheerleading. It's just your skill sets are completely different. But yet Anna is the band girl. Actually, she wasn't, as far as I'm aware. Anna's the girl with no skill sets, basically, who is pissed off that everybody else has spent time building a skill set and therefore they are good at a thing. And Anna thinks that they're just naturally good at the thing and that there is no effort or time or training or practice that has gone into being good at that thing. And she gets mad that she isn't good at that thing when she very first starts it. And therefore, the other person is somehow in the wrong because Anna isn't good at a thing. And everyone who thinks that that person is good at the thing, or who says, wow, look at this person, they're good at this thing, all of us are idiots because we're just being bamboozled by the fake girl who actually did shit to get to where she's at versus just fawning over Anna because she exists. Like, that's how this whole book comes off every time she tells a story about the popular girl. Like, it's terrible, to the point where she even blames one of these stories. She actually tells a story about how she just trauma dumps on this random girl in school who she perceived as being a popular girl, and then gets mad when the girl is like, wow, that wasn't appropriate. And it's somehow the mental trauma that Anna is still experiencing to this day from this experience. Somehow that is the other girl's fault because she didn't just immediately accept Anna into the fold with open arms. Remember, 40 years old, still dwelling on her high school years. Just saying. We've put them on that pedestal because we want and need to believe that perfection exists. I don't know about that. But only for the special people. What did I just get done ranting about? They become the rare person impervious to error so that we can find comfort with our own imperfectionism. No. I don't hold other people who are good at things that I want to be good at as perfect. Actually, the less perfect they are, the better I feel about it, because it shows that they're real fucking people. And if they're real people, that means I could achieve that thing, right? If I thought they were perfect gods formed out of like marble and they're just pure and perfect and can never fail, why would I even try to achieve that? Why would I even try to be like them? It is impossible. I am not that way. If I see somebody who is imperfect or who has a very similar life story to my own, that makes me want to do better because I know I can. That's called role model. Have I put that person on a pedestal? I try not to, because people are people and they're going to F up, right? Some of them F up harder than others. But for the most part, everybody's imperfect, and that's the point. That's why we like people. Apparently for Anna, we only like people if they are absolutely pristine, and the instant that they are not, we must destroy them. I just highlighted this because of Anna's... If you read Anna's threads. A beloved and adored actress gets drunk and actually tweets something stupid. Boy, that didn't age well. I just wrote projecting much. Anna's threads, I never followed her on Twitter, but I do follow her threads. Anna's threads are something else sometimes. She just really pops off in the worst possible ways on threads. So, how to get over your perfectionist tendencies. So perfectionism is bad. Hopefully we're all on the same page on that one by now. Okay. However, if you're like me, a type A perfectionist, self-proclaimed, in her own words, self-proclaimed, you're probably looking for some black and white rules to help you perfectly exist imperfectly. Yes. Do give them to me, O Queen, who I have put upon a pedestal because you are somehow greater than I am. First and foremost, you're going to need to recognize and self-correct when you are being a judgy witch. No. How dare? How dare? Anyway. I will be a judgy witch if I want to be. Is a person worth less because they don't meet my unrealistic standards of perfection? Again, going back to the rant that I had at the beginning here. Apparently, yes. Apparently the answer to that's supposed to be yes. How to become perfectly imperfect. Check yourself, Anna. Acknowledge when you are being hypercritical and examine what those feelings say to you. I try to do that, actually. When I go too hard in on the girls, I like try to step back and like examine exactly why. And a lot of times it comes down to they've done or said or are doing something that I resonate too strongly with, or they've just really hit a nerve. That's what I mean, you know. And if it comes down to something that I resonate with, I got to figure out why, because I don't want to be like them. So I guess in my own little way, I have put them up on a weird pedestal where I'm like, I do not want to be you. Ergo, I must examine what you are doing because I don't want your results. Anyway, take risks. Try new things and activities that will force you to experience failure on your terms. Failure happens, man. It's going to happen whether you want it to fail or not. If you plan for the failure to happen, it's not a failure, it's the plan. Anyway, make space to grow. Ensure you have the time and energy to work on you by saying no to all that extra work your perfectionist brain says yes to. This is nothing new. This is something that's been said for a very long time, ever since self-help books became a thing. I'm pretty sure Ben Franklin said something similar to this, to be honest with you. Just don't say yes to everything. You don't have all the time in the world, so you have to pick your battles, right? You have to choose which projects you want to work on. So you have to say no to some things. If you constantly say yes, you're going to get overwhelmed and nothing's going to get done. Now, the constantly saying yes thing, that might be a perfectionist thing, like a legit perfectionist thing, just because there's that fear of disappointment, from what I understand. And so a lot of the perfectionists I know, this is just going off of the people I've met, they do tend to take on a whole lot more than they're actually capable of doing. And it causes issues because they've taken on too much and they either can't complete the projects or they're not completing the projects in the time that they need to be, or the work that they're turning in really is subpar and it's just not working, you know, or they just vanish. They just drop off the face of the earth and you never hear from them again because they've just become so overwhelmed they completely withdraw from the world, right? That's not purely a perfectionist trait, just FYI. Coming from personal experience. All right. Now, there is technically a 13th chapter, but it's the conclusion. So we're just going to do the conclusion with chapter 12 because I don't think it's really that long. This is the conclusion of Anna's self-help book. The conclusion of a good self-help book should go back and reflect on all of the major points that the book has presented. So every chapter in this book has technically made a point of some kind. And at the end of every chapter, Anna has put forward a list of 3 actionable steps that she thinks would help whoever is reading this book achieve some level of self-help, right? So often in the conclusion section of a self-help style book, you will see lists, resources. You will typically see the author trying to drive traffic to a personal website or group or something that they maintain or monitor. It's the final sales pitch, right? It's the point where you say, here is what I have taught you. Here is your review. And oh, by the way, if you want more, here are some resources and links. And by the way, follow me. That's what a conclusion is supposed to be. You've done it. You've reached the end. You've read it all. I have. Congrats. Now what? Now I'm going to take it off my ebook because it's taking up space that I could have some kind of adult book on that would be far more interesting to read. Every chapter in this book boils down to one truth. How you see the world is your choice. It did? It what? Okay, sure. Positivity is not about perfection or happiness. Positivity is about hope. I guess? It's the belief that tomorrow has the potential to be better than today. Okay, that I'll give you. I'll give you that one. No matter how awful today is. Sure. I mean, what is that old joke? Oh, I forget what it is, but the punchline is the kid's digging through the pig shit because he's trying to find a shiny penny. And when he finds it, he's like, look, I found a shiny penny! Even though he's covered in pig shit. I forget the whole joke, but that's kind of the point. The point is the kid, even though he's covered in absolute filth, finds the positive in the situation where he found a shiny penny. You're still covered in pig shit, but you've got a shiny penny. Sometimes that's all you need in life, you know? You're just digging for the shiny penny. There you go. Decide today to get to know, appreciate, and love who you are. All right. I mean, I've been doing a lot of therapy for that one. I still don't know. I still don't know who I am. Anyway. Sorry. Okay, that was it. Never mind. Now what we do have is from Mango Publishing. Let's see if I can flip this. Can you guys see that? Hey, it's reversed, but whatever. This is from Mango Publishing, Early Bird Books. Love the book? Choose another ebook from us or a selection of similar titles. Not loving this book? No worries. Choose another ebook from us at a selection of alternative titles. Oh, I guess I could get a free ebook. They want my email address. I don't want them to have my email address. Oh well. Our quest ends here. After that, there's the acknowledgments. I'd like to thank my best friend Tracy for putting up with all of my crazy phone calls to discuss my ideas, forever being my cheerleader, and making me feel like I belong in this often lonely world. By the same token, I would like to express my gratitude to my dog Data, who never understood why I was stressed out, but always laid by my side to make me feel at ease. Where's the dog? Where is Data? Y'all are worried about Twinkie. I want to know where Data is. I also like to acknowledge the bevy of friends who supported me at various stages of this project and believed in me when I was scared to believe in myself. Yes. We know Tracy from an earlier story where Anna was being a complete jerk and trashing their communal apartment. And Tracy was like, hey, could you clean up your mess? And Anna was like, screw you, and went to her bedroom and slammed her door and started having a temper tantrum like a 12-year-old. We know Tracy from that story. Apparently Tracy's like, sure. That's how friends treat each other. And then the author blurb. Anna O'Brien. Anna O'Brien was born with a big mouth, big heart, and big ideas. She shares her life, learning, and fearless fashion sense daily online as Glitter Plus Lasers. Once a side project, Glitter Plus Lasers has quickly grown to become a cornerstone in the personal development, fashion, and beauty communities. Personal development? I'll give you fashion. We can argue about beauty. Personal development? Where? Anyway, Anna's work has been featured in major publications across the globe. Here's the problem with that statement. The job Anna quit to write this book was an international job. Like, she traveled, she lived in London for a little while. There's pictures on her Instagram of when they were in like Austria, various other countries. So she traveled a lot with that last job. And she did put out publications and stuff because she shares a little bit of that in her blogs. So I know that's what she's talking about. Glitter and Lasers is not this. Anna's work prior to Glitter and Lasers was featured in major publications across the globe. Glitter and Lasers, not so much. She has been featured in a lot of publications. Anna used to work really, really hard to get her name out there because she was really pushing to be like the next plus size swimsuit model on the cover of Sports Illustrated. That didn't happen, by the way, but she was trying to do it. So she really did get her name and her image out there. As far as internationally, maybe by accident. Anyway. Ready? Anna has a master's degree from Columbia University, where she studied quantitative methods in social sciences. Over the past decade, she has built a professional career on innovation and creative problem solving. She is best known for her candid and captivating presentation style and her ability to transform difficult concepts into executable steps. I've seen your early videos where you're doing your early clothing hauls. They are what I would describe as manic. They are difficult to watch. Now, that could be because I am a stick in the mud and I just don't appreciate Anna's presentation style. Because clearly she and I were taught to present in two completely different ways. As far as her, again, I think she's talking about her professional career before Glitter and Lasers here. As far as innovation and creative problem solving, because with a degree by the name of quantitative methods and social sciences, I'm guessing that's a bunch of buzzwords. So is creative problem solving. That's just a business buzzword. It doesn't really mean anything. Innovation and creative problem solving. What does that mean? What do you need it to mean? It's one of those things. Candid and captivating present. Captivating, I will give you. Okay, let's talk about that. It is captivating in that you do not often see manic episodes being recorded to be put on someone's YouTube channel as a regular occurrence. I'm not saying she is manic. I'm saying they strike me like I would imagine a manic episode to be. That's a personal opinion. Her ability to transform difficult concepts into executionable steps. Sure. I guess that's what what the end of every chapter with her little 3 steps, the little boxes with the 3 steps in it. I guess that's what it's supposed to be. Anna lives in New York with her rescue pup and best friend, Data. Aw. So this is before she moved to Texas. Then we get into the notes section, and again, this is as close to citing sources as Anna gets. They're not even laid out. I guess this might be MLA, maybe. It's been a long time since I've done Chicago MLA style. But they don't... The information's all there. I just don't think, like, format-wise they're correct, and I don't understand why format matters, but it does. So, but the other problem here is it's just a bibliography. They're not connected to anything. But yeah, like note 3. These notes are not footnoted or connected to anything in the text. These numbers are pointless. And so note number 3, which obviously was meant to be connected to something, just says Cohen Bishop stress and optimism, which is the second citation, the second note here. It's Sue Ann Cohen, George D. Bishop, 1997, stress and optimism. It's not connected to anything in the text. Obviously, I think she meant to, because that's typically how you do an IBID text or an IBID quote. Like, you're using the same source more than once in a row. But there's no footnotes. These numbers don't correlate to anything. They just exist. And one of her notes in here, I think I mentioned it when I came across it. Yeah, well, this isn't the one I'm looking for, but this is another one. 44. Number 44. Note that you should never feel like you have to change your body or size to fit in or be accepted. What does this link to? What even chapter is this in? I don't know where this note is supposed to go. Number 68. Again, I don't know where this note is supposed to go. I don't know what chapter it's supposed to be in. I don't know what line it's talking about. All it says is number 68. I made these numbers up. What numbers? As far as I know, this is the whole damn book. I made these numbers up. There are no citations. There are no footnotes. There's this notes section, but it's not connected to anything. It's and there's numbers, so I wonder if there was supposed to be a footnote. There were supposed to be footnotes in the text, and that just never happened. Like, maybe the format ate them, and they just didn't show up in the final copy, or whoever it was whose job it was to go through and put the footnotes in the text didn't. I don't know. I feel like that's Anna's job, but I could be wrong. I would do it if I were writing a book that was citing scientific sources, and that was the crux of my book, is the science part of it. But yeah, there's 77 notes. I don't know where they go. And there's so little information in things that I go over. You need to cite your sources. There's so little information in those little sections that I could not reliably put it together, right? I could not reliably look at that and be like, oh, okay, well, at least she put the names of the researchers on there. I mean, it's going to be a pain in the ass because these aren't alphabetical, but I could go through these and figure out whose study she's talking about, because she's at least put the names of the researchers, or she's put the name of the study in her little blurb. No, that's not even reliable enough. I could probably do that to about half of these, maybe, and that's being generous. There's no way to connect these notes to the rest of the text. Anyway, that's enough of me doing that. So we have officially made it to the end of Anna O'Brien's book, A Life Full of Glitter. It was a ride. I promise you I read every word of this book. Did I read it back to you? No. But I read every word of this book. The stories in this book are, if they are true, caveat, if these stories are true, they really give us a very interesting look into Anna's past, right? Now, remember, all of these stories are being told from Anna's perspective. So in like chapter 11, she was talking about a friend of hers that basically dumped her after their first year in college. And Anna, to this day, still doesn't understand why. And she deserves closure. And this person was just being an absolute butthead. And how dare. We only know that story from Anna's side, right? Because this is Anna telling us these stories. Same thing with most of the stories from high school and things. We can interpolate things if we want to, but we don't really know what was going on the other side. We just have Anna's story, right? We only have Anna's perception of the story. So a lot of these things are very biased. Obviously, Anna's always in the right. Anna's always the victim. Anna's always the one that solves the problem. Anna's always the altruistic one. Anna's always the bigger person who forgives, forgets, and moves on. So Anna is the person whom we are supposed to be putting on the pedestal and looking at and saying, oh, wow, I wish I was like her. Anna even states throughout the book on multiple occasions that it's more important to her to look like she is successful and she is well put together and she is well adapted than to actually be any of those things. It is more important to her that her outward appearance is one of success and adjustment and adulting than her life actually being that thing, right? So for her, with that knowledge, everything that she's saying in this book is kind of empty, right? Like, this is supposed to be a self-help book. It's supposed to help me be a better version of myself. It's supposed to give me advice and tips and tricks on how to better myself, right? But to make my actual life better, not just my outward appearance of my life. But since Anna goes through this book and makes it very evident that for her, perception is greater than reality, it makes the book kind of empty. Because I know that she isn't embodying any of these things that she's talking about. She doesn't care if she's actually doing them. She just wants you to think that she is. And you can fake that. And we see that a lot in Anna's videos and in her TikToks and in her tweets and stuff. Reading this book, hearing her say these things, it's very obvious to Anna that outward appearances are way more important than reality. The problem is Anna picks these things where if you are not actively doing them, it's very evident because these are things that you would improve with over time, and she is not, right? Her diet, she doesn't lose weight. Her surgery thing that she's going through right now, her body shape has not changed. If anything, she's visibly gained weight. Her exercise, her form doesn't change. The amount of weight that she's lifting does not go up. Her time that she spends working out has not changed. Her running, her form was terrible. She didn't do any of the things that she was shown to do to help improve her gait and her distance and her speed. She didn't do any of those things. And it was evident when she finally did run the 5K, because she slowly walked it to the point where she was the second to last person to finish the 5K. And her time was like an hour. And she was running, right? It's just that kind of stuff. But overall, it's just, the book could have really used an editor at many, many, many points. It really could have used some kind of professional feedback at many, many points. It could have used citations. And I mean, just in general, it needed like a copy editor, because I don't think I have this many spelling errors and this many grammar errors, and I'm fucking dyslexic. So it's just one of those kind of things. So overall, was it a good book? I've read a lot of self-help books. I would recommend a whole slew of other ones before I would recommend this one. And that's pretty much it. So if you guys are reading along with it, let me know what you guys think when you got to the final chapters. I know a couple of you are reading it, and let me know what you guys thought. I'm interested to know. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm interested to know what you thought when you got to the end of the book. Do you feel like it actually helped you? Do you feel like you're inspired to go be a better person? I would like to know. But for the rest of us, go ahead and put the final book emoji down in the comments section, and I guess put a check next to it, because we have finished. The book is done. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below one more time, and I will see everybody in the next one. But, well, actually I won't. We are at the end of the book. We are done. So, bye! This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me, because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.